Hi, happy Wednesday. I'm so glad to be here with you yet again. My name is Monica Henderson, and I am the founder and creator of MinkLife Motivation and your host for MinkLife Motivation Live. To help me dive into our topics today, I'm so excited to introduce my co-host. But before I introduce my co-host, I want to let you know what we're chatting about today. And that is, we are focused today on how to live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled to expand your impact. Now, this is the culmination of all the things that we've talked about this month. And so today we're going to talk about those topics. And to help me talk about this, I am going to introduce you to my co-host, Andrea Gewirtz. She is the Wellness Thrive Strategist with Wellbeing and Worth, a master MinkLife Motivation Master Trainer, and the Dean of MinkLife University. Andrea, hey girl, hey.
Hey, good. Welcome back.
I know, it feels so good to be in the Headshots by Peggy studio, and I'm so excited to be back in California, hopefully for a while. All right, to also help us talk about how we're going to create this impact, I have my co-host, Peggy MacArthur. She is the owner and photographer at Headshots by Peggy. She is also a headshot strategist and the MinkLife Motivation Trainer of the brand builder, Peggy.
Yay! I'm so glad to be here. Yay!
The crew is back together and tearing things up, apparently.
Tearing things up.
But I am so excited to just be here with you guys. I mean, it's been a minute that I've been in California, but I am excited to kind of close out our conversation this week about, so this month we talked about living healthy, we talked about living wealthy, we talked about living fulfilled. And the topic this week, the reason why I chose this particular topic is because this week we need to kind of pull all of that. Why are we even doing that? And for most entrepreneurs, it's because we really do want to make an impact. And so I'm excited to dive into this topic today and to help everyone get motivated. Oh, yeah. So to answer the first question, Alana's going to drop those questions for us. So why is living healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled important to expand your impact? And we're going to start with Andrea.
Okay, so I got the questions this morning and I was like, I'm ready at least for the why question, right? So, and of course, from Mink Life, in my own life as a well-being and worth strategist, living healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled is like a thing. It's a 360-degree mindset thing. And then people go, well, why? And I why would I want to do that? And of course, my flip answer is why not? But the real answer is, I think impact is really analogous to influence. And of course, if you are unable to be harmonized in your, health, your wealth, and what you're doing for your purpose, how can you be of influence? Obviously, if there's something in that wheel, no cars go on, square wheels. In fact, they need round wheels. So if anything in that wheel of your life is, of course, out of whack, it is very hard to be productive, to produce, to create. And ultimately, for me, impact, influence is all about connection. So it's important for you to be whole in yourself. It's the pursuit of this continuous flow so that you stay round versus irregular, parametric or whatever, some weird shape that can't roll down the road, because then you're not in flow and then you're not showing up as your best self. And then, of course, what are you putting out in the world? It's energy that isn't, of course, that vibrant. It isn't thriving. So it's important
So,
to work on oneself, for sure.
hey, so we have our fourth co-host chiming in from the audience. Irina is there. Hey, ladies. Hey, Irina. Yeah, so the question is, if you're just chiming in or if you're just watching, the question is, why are we living? Why is living healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled so important to expand your impact? And Peggy, you want to give it a shot?
So, everybody that's heard me talk is that I really feel like my purpose in life is to help empower other people. And that is basically impacting their lives by living my life and by, learning and making the mistakes and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And I think that when you live your life like that, even through your mistakes, you allow that to impact others and really influence and change their life. So when they see me starting down here and then fumbling around and messing up and then actually ending up succeeding and living a healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled life, then it's like it's obtainable. It's something that if that person could do it, if Peggy could do it, then I can surely do it. Because I make a lot of decisions in my life like that. Like I'll think, well, I've seen other people that do that and they don't look that bright. So I'm sure I can do this as well. And so I feel that people probably look at me and they think, if Peggy can do this, I got this. So you really by living your life honestly and fulfilling your life and living your life in an honest way, it's impossible not to impact others.
You know, the things that come out of Peggy's mouth. Let's just go.
Yeah.
She always. This is why we love that you're on the show, because you never know what's going to come out of Peggy's mouth. But I agree with both of what you guys are saying, and I want to add that. So a lot of us sometimes will feel the imposter syndrome, right? And that is a phrase that gets thrown around a lot. Oh, I feel like such an imposter. I feel like such an imposter. And the best way to actually create the impact and create the change in the world that you're trying to make, and also not feel like an imposter, is to live the words that you are preaching. And most of us are in business to help people be healthier or be wealthier or be more fulfilled. I don't know any business that doesn't kind of land in one of those areas. It's
Right.
either entertainment or it's creating wealth or saving you money, or it's really helping people live healthier. And so if you are in business for any reason and you are not showing up in your life in the best way, then it can make sense when you're talking to someone about like their investments and your bills aren't paid. You might feel like an imposter, or you feeling like an imposter because you're telling people to follow a workout plan or a diet plan, and flip side of that, you're not doing any of those things, or you don't practice that on a regular basis. The reason why it's more impactful, and you can expand your impact by living well, healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled, is because you are no longer aspirationally telling someone else what they can do, but in fact, you are embodying the attributes and the traits that you are asking them to do. And I always try to say when we're working with people is, I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I hadn't tried myself, right? Because it's hard. It's easy to tell someone, you know what you should do. How many people? How many people have we heard say that? You know what you should do, and they ain't done not one damn thing in their life about any of those things. But you know what you should do,
Oh, I
right?
hate
And
her.
so
Yeah.
that's why it's so important to literally try every day to live those three things, so that you don't show up as an imposter in your own life, and you are an aspiration and an inspiration to everybody around you, because you're doing your best every day. And you may fall, or it may not be always awesome, and there might be some bad times or some low times, but ultimately you can really help people stay motivated and inspired just by doing that. So one of our fourth co-hosts chimed in, "Hey ladies, really enjoying this topic, and the content you're sharing on is so on point. And dare I say, you look beautiful. LOL."
So wait, I'm going to cover this. First of all, yo, thank you. But what did you get out of our topic? So what the rest of the audience doesn't know is that we are all in the incubator, the MinkLife incubator.
Mhm.
And this was a topic we were discussing around the water cooler this morning, is when women sometimes give a powerful speech or something, and then the comments are like, "You look beautiful." It's like, and Yo said, "Oh, take the compliment, but turn it around on them and say, what was the best thing you got out of my speech?" So thank you, Yo, for the compliment.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, that's the fun when you're hanging out with us in the incubator, for sure, is that you really do have these like musings that normally you would muse by yourself. And you're like, and you don't get a chance to actually kind of work it out. But that was a really interesting conversation we had this morning. So I want to keep the show going because that is my job, is to keep this train on the tracks and moving forward. Because leave it to Peggy, we'd be on some tangent and everywhere. She definitely is chasing the squirrels always. She is good for a good squirrel chase. But we always want to help you stay inspired. And the question today is really designed to help you understand kind of just how we are actually showing up in our own lives to live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled. So the question is, how have you seen your impact expand by doing so, by living healthier, wealthier, and more fulfilled, or at least striving to live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled? So we're going to start with Peggy this time.
Well, I think all of the people that spend any time on, around me or are influenced by me in any way know that I have struggled with a health issue for over 24 years. And I have lymphedema, and a lot of people with this condition, their health deteriorates a lot more than mine has, because I have really made it purpose to really be careful what I eat, self-care, all these things that are important to maintaining an active life. It's not easy. Sometimes it's super frustrating, and it's, a roller coaster. But I also know that not just the people that have the same condition as me, but other people that just struggle with weight or struggle with health issues really see that, hey, Peggy's no joke. She's actually doing this. Like, we went out to eat with her and she like stuck no matter what, she's not going to cheat or do whatever. And I think that makes a statement that when you really make a decision to put your health number one, that it does work, and people see that, and it does influence them, because I do get a lot of feedback on things like that. And that doesn't matter if it's health, if it's your wealth, if it's, living a fulfilled life. When you make that line in the sand and you're like, I'm not crossing this, this is how I live my life, it really does impact the people around you.
Oh, yeah. That is facts, baby. That is definitely facts. Andrea, what about you?
I think Peggy is so on point. It's really, she started off with the whole concept of modeling and making sure you're walking the talk, and you followed up with that. Are you walking the talk, doing the thing, so that you can be that reference, you can be that model. And so, yeah, I mean, my friends and family, to Peggy's point, weren't surprised when I really went after going into functional nutrition coaching and counseling and the education around that, because I was talking about it anyway. You didn't have to, unless I used to be, you didn't have to ask, right? Like, I was like, oh, you sure about that? So now I wait for the invitation to, drop the information. because not everybody's ready to embark on that journey. But if they see you doing those things over and over and over again, or they like to see when you're not doing it. And then I have to remind people about that 80-20 rule, or the fact that it's a big conversation around nutrition, and it's a big conversation around food. And I think Wellbeing and Worth was launched because I was tired of do this, do this, do this, and that madness that goes with I have to fit in this little hole. So I want to show sometimes that, yeah, I can have a glass of wine, even though I'm a health and wellness person. I have less and less, by the way. But, it's one of those things where, and I'm sad about it, can I add? Because I used to really, really like it, but it's not liking me right now in my body. So I share that story because I want people to know, hey, this is, you're always, like I said before, moving and flowing, and you've got to work to keep your engine going the best way it can. And I think far too often showing that realness, as Peggy said, like putting in the work, sometimes throws people off. But for the people who are like, I really need a solution, they're like, oh, that's the work that it takes. So for sure, it's walk the walk, do the talk, show the breadth of what it takes is really important.
Yeah. For me, like none of this would exist if I didn't decide. I had to decide for myself that I wanted to live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled. And then I had to do like Peggy, I'm just going to just focus on it and keep driving this way until it happens. And then once it happened, then the curiosity of like, well, how how did you go from being like a homeless single mother to living in a fashionable neighborhood with your daughter and going to great schools and your husband and like having the career that you want? Like, how did you get all of the things that you want when you were definitely not in that space? And what sometimes we forget is Dan McPherson always reminds us that, shout out to Dan, by the way, is that you want to share the good, you want to share the bad, but it's the ugly that changes lives. And the ugly part of my life, the part that I didn't really want to share, is important so that so that everyone understands it can be ugly and that's okay. But this is also the result if you decide to change your life, right? If you decide that you really want something different, then you can get that. And so for me, I've I've been able to tell my story and have the feedback of people saying, wow, I know if you can do it, I can do it too. Because let's be honest, guys, I'm like as average as it comes. And I know you're thinking like, no, you're not average. No, bruh, I'm super average, right? Like super, super average. I'm not tall. I'm not short. I am medium brown. I'm not light skinned, not dark skinned. I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'm not the dumbest person in the room. Like I for most of my life, I have run that middle road. I've not been the richest. I've not been the poorest. I've been the richest. I've been the poorest. Like I'm a sum of a bunch of average. But what I found in sharing that, look, I don't have any special skills, talents, gifts that anybody else in the world can't have, right? And that you can't naturally just find by learning something. But by sharing that, it really allowed me to impact people to say, well, you know what? I'm gonna hang out with her a little longer, so maybe some of that enthusiasm and motivation can rub off on me, so that they can find the impacts in themselves. And I see it in my friend group, right? And as they also live in their truth, and as they're thriving to live, and thriving and striving to live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled, they impact me, and then I impact them, and then they impact me, and there's this reciprocal that happens. And I see it when I have to give my talks. I see it when I have to show up into my groups. The impact is incredible because I've chosen to be authentic, because I've chosen to live in my skin and live in my truth, and just be who I really am when I show up, then people naturally gravitate to that and they naturally cling on. They're like, I don't know what it is about that crazy girl Monica, but I like her. And then I'm able to actually have their ear to have a deeper conversation. And so living that way, living healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled, I don't see any other way to live at this point. It's only expanded my ability to in my reach. It's only expanded my own understanding of myself and others. It's only deepened my empathy and my compassion and my passion. And so if I'm really going to build a legacy, if I'm really going to live in that space of impact in the world, and Monica was here, which is a huge statement from a girl who suffers from social anxiety. But I was here, then that's when the impact begins to kind of live beyond me and on in other generations as well. So one of our co-hosts chimed in and she said, until you realize that all ugliness of where you did not want to be anymore, you don't make any change. But once you reach that point, you are on the way to a better space. I love the wisdom that always comes from Irina. She is always right there with the great saying. So thank you, Irina, for that.
Yeah, when you get just tired of like, hey, I'm tired of living like this.
Yeah.
I want to live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled.
Yes. Yes. Double high five for being average. I mean, I think that's kind of the hard part sometimes is when we're seeing people who are doing extraordinary things, we think, oh, well, they're special, right? Like, I can't do that. They're special. They have special gifts. I don't have those kind of gifts. I could not in any kind of a way. My special gift is sleeping. Like, that's my special gift. Just the ability to tap into sleep. That is the one strength that I have that is a superpower, right? But everybody can learn to do that, right?
No, that is
No,
really
that is a superpower.
that actually really truly is. Like,
I begged exactly. It's one I wish I had. So
I share that power with you, Monica.
you go be a genius in that. If you could bottle it, I swear you'd make millions.
I would make so much money. I'd be the new big pharma, but being able to sleep well actually comes from like leaning into the healthy, wealthy, fulfilled living, right? And leaning into all of those things. So it's not something that I don't know that I was always a good sleeper. I think it was something that I just chose to be really good at because it was it was like a theme, an underpinning, right? If I can sleep, well, no, what it was my brain works really well right after I wake up. I wonder why that is. I wonder if I can tap into that and make it happen more often. Maybe I should choose to go to sleep instead of just falling asleep or watching TV until I go to sleep or listening to the radio while I sleep. Like, what if I like focused on being a better sleeper? And then I did. And then my brain was like, thank you. So, but yeah. So what are some of you guys' superpowers that like you think are super average, but that someone else thinks is like?
All right, Andrea, what's your superpower?
I have a really good memory to the point of distracting people. They're like, where's such and such? And I'm like, upstairs, left corner, right side. They're like, what? That is an annoyance to many, but it was a really big help when I worked at NPR. And I was really responsible for setting up lots of things. And so the ability to remember sequences of numbers and also it's a weird thing. I think take it as one of those weird fun facts about myself. I don't want anyone really to know. But it's that ability to like have this visual map and then being able to go, oh, there it is. And they're like, or remembering something that I've heard. So I have a really keen
Oh yeah.
audio, like oral memory that's really
Yo says
Something else.
there are actual
I know,
jobs for
mattress testers.
Sign
I
me
guess
up, baby.
I could go do one of
I'm
those.
like Princess in the Pea too. I'm really weird about my mattress. It's a whole thing. So,
So yeah, that was a weird question, Monica. I'm like, I don't know.
What about you, Peggy?
I don't think I have a superpower. I think that I am completely average in everything I do. I think the things that people
You
think.
know what? No, I'll tell you what Peggy's superpower is. Peggy is super disciplined in a way that I have not seen in many people. Monica's very disciplined too. Peggy, though,
Not like her.
and I say this with such reverence because I know the journey you have picked. I know the changes you have made. And I think you hear me tell you, congratulations for sticking and staying. Like, that is a superpower. And one that I like sleep. You really, if you could clone it or share it, people would buy it. If I could take a pill and do that. Yeah, I mean, really, truly. So yes, you do have one. I think you take it. It's so, it's a blind spot that you just don't know. So I figure every time you say you're going to do something, I know it's going to be done 15 minutes early.
Facts.
And
And then she's like, hey guys, she'll pop back into the incubator. Hey guys, finish my whole list. I'm good. And the rest of us are all like, and still.
I've got 2 names. So, yes.
Them facts. All right. So I'm going to keep us moving along here. So let's keep networking. And, when we talk about networking, it really is about asking for help. And so, out of curiosity from you two, who can help you along the way with living healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled? And if you want to use examples in your own life, that would be stellar. So who can help you live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled?
Oh, I'll go.
Yes, go.
You see these other 2 squares here? Pretty much, yeah, that's it. But the lesson that I learned, honestly, the thing that I learned the most from being part of the MinkLife is the key is you have to ask.
Yep.
And we talked about this today, Monica. I'm going to share a little bit of your story. Monica was giving this huge analogy about an acorn, and I'm not going to steal her thunder and her glory about it.
It's coming soon.
But I was like, oh, wow, is she talking to me? Because we do put those walls up that were there for a reason to protect us. But then we don't realize that sometimes now those walls aren't useful. In order to grow into something beautiful, you have to put those walls down and trust. And here's the tough one: ask. And asking
Yep.
is the key. It's not who, it's the ask.
Yeah. Irina says all of you. And you, Irina, you don't understand what resource you are. If y'all haven't yet experienced Irina, you should, for sure.
You should just follow her right now. If you're on this, just follow her and start watching her lives, and you'll be like, oh wow, this is no joke.
Super consistent.
Yeah. What about you, Andrea?
I want to say, of course, surrounding yourself with people that add value, right? And then mine was, when I looked at that originally in preparation for today, I was like, who? It was me asking, as Peggy said, I wanted to be better at leading. And that led me to, for instance, NLP. So I was curious about how to be a better leader. And I very much was like, look at these people. They can get up on stage and they're so good. And there was this term, neuro-linguistic programming. I'm like, what is that? Is it a disease? Yeah. And I ended up, investigating this mindset, work, sociology. It's an interesting paradigm of lots of different things. And I remember finding myself in a class going, this is the thing I really need. like ding, ding, ding. And really following that to a, teacher practitioner level, I think was one of those times where it helped me, like Monica's going to talk about acorns and planting the seed, or probably like putting the walls down so that you can be this model. This particular episode is really poignant to me because it is about that balancing of yourself and really showing up as your best self. And NLP is all about that, and then helping others do the same. So it was when I went into that inquiry of asking myself, I felt very timid in certain skills when came to talking and things like that. So seeking that education for the sake of the knowledge of it, not much less than understanding the skill set that it gave me to help others be their best selves and things like that. So I would say it started with a question with me because I was like, I'm not doing something right, and wanting to be better. So, and then finding mentors and teachers along the way, and a community that would let me explore that. So that's where MinkLife really came into
Yeah,
it.
I'm a cocooner, right? Like I ebb and flow, right? So I'll start with a concept and I'll ask all kinds of questions and I'll be like, well, what do you think? 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 And so I ask a lot of different people, a lot of different questions, to the point where my husband's like, oh, there she goes again. She asked a question. Who knows what's going to come of it? Something else is coming down the pike. I just got to buckle my seatbelt and get ready. I'm always asking these questions of literally anyone and everyone who will let me ask them. Like to Peggy's point, asking questions is, and I mean, I swear, if you don't know what Mink Life Motivation Live is about, it's about asking questions. That's the that's the new theme, is asking questions. But when you when I am ready to make a decision, I want to be informed by as many voices as possible. And so for me, the networking is when that kind of comes into play, right? Because as I'm out and about and I'm meeting different people and they have different areas of expertise and they have different areas of knowledge and they know something that I don't know, or maybe they don't know something I don't know. And I'm curious as to how much they do know more than I do, right? In that inquiry process, there's so much data, there's so much information that is accumulating. And I once told my husband, I was like, I pick up the most random pieces of information and store them like little acorns off in the side. And then all of a sudden someone will ask me a question. I go, well, the answer is this. And how do you know that? And it's like, well, I'm not really sure how I know that, but it's that process of surrounding yourself with people when you're curious and asking questions when you're curious and then questioning their answers even when you're curious, right? Like not taking those answers for fact, but cross-referencing that to other experts and other opinions, and then finding where their common is the truth, right? What this person thinks and what this person thinks may be slightly different, but there's a grain of similarity in what they think in finding that that's the truth. And in doing that, then I can go back into my cocoon. And then that's when my husband's like, oh, she's stubborn. She don't want to hear nothing from nobody. I was like, hey, I gave y'all all an opportunity to chime in on your opinions, your thoughts, your questions when I was curious. And now I'm not curious anymore. I have a direction I want to go and I got to stay focused. So for me, when we're talking about like, who should I ask to live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled? And it's like literally everyone. I ask my kid, I ask my mom, my grandma, I ask strangers on the street like Peggy in the grocery store. I ask people at networking groups. I get curious about what they do and how they do it and what ways they do it. I read. So it's a combination of all of the people. In order to do that, though, you have to network. You have to actually be open to building relationship and opening yourself up and being vulnerable, like Peggy was saying, in order to be that. Because when you don't know and you pretend like you do know, that's a form of protection, right? But when you say, you know what, that's a good question, I have no idea, that is a vulnerability that I think a lot of people have a hard time leaning into. And so be vulnerable enough to ask. Just be vulnerable enough to say, you know what, I actually don't know the answer to this, and I'm going to go find the answer. I'm going to ask enough people to get there. And you'd be surprised sometimes when people don't know, either. They're like, well, I'm curious. When you find the answer to that, let me know. And then you got a problem. Then you got a program. Then you got something to sell.
Or you got to report back to all the people that asked the first time. Or they do get curious to know if you figured it out. Like, they're like, oh, did you figure it out? Do you know the answer? I am so with you in that regard.
Yeah, the incubator literally came because I had this random memory of the Fibonacci sequence. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, the Fibonacci sequence. And then I told my husband, he's like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. I don't know nothing about that. And I was like, yes, this thing with the spirals and it's perfect numbers that equal the spirals and things in nature. And he's like, over my head, have no idea. I went in and asked my daughter. She's like, oh, the Fibonacci sequence. Just as a matter of fact, like it was what time it was. And from there, I was able to allow that word to be my search engine and then, create a perfect working day, a perfect scenario of expansion for people. So you'd be surprised where those answers come from. So our group here is chiming in. Vulnerability in asking equals freedom. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Preach on the couch at the house. Yes. Love that. Love that.
Hashtag preach on the couch in the house.
Yes. That's a cute hashtag.
All right. So to keep us moving along, because we're running out of time here, the last little part is we want to always gain knowledge. If you didn't know that about us, you hadn't figured out that we are knowledge seekers here, and we want to help you gain knowledge. What is your one tip, your favorite part? Time to summarize this whole thing. What's the one tip you have to expand your impact? So one tip. Who wants to go first?
Peggy.
Okay. That was fair. I deserve that one. So I think my one tip would be, don't worry if you're average, because I appreciate Andrea saying that my superpower is being, determined and organized or not even organized, just stubborn.
Diligent. It's so used.
But I feel like even photography, like I loved photography, but I wasn't always good at photography. It was something I worked at. I probably worked at it harder than what I assume other famous photographers worked at it. I felt like everything I've done has come at a little bit more of a cost to me than how I perceive it comes to everyone else. And I think that whether that's true or not, we all have that perception. When we see someone excellent, we assume it comes easy to them. We don't realize that, no, they sucked when they started too. They just didn't quit. They just kept working at it. They just kept doing it. So my tip is, it's okay if you're average. It's even okay if you suck at something. If you're passionate about it, if it's something in you, then practice. Yes. Learn, get up early, work on it, fail and fail, because every time you fail, you learn a way that it doesn't work. So you're narrowing down to where it does work. So that would be my one tip.
That's a great tip. That's a really great tip, because if you think of, like, for instance, Kobe Bryant, that was one of the things that he had said, which was he does the practice that nobody else does. He gets in and does the 5,000 shots before he starts actual practice with the team every day, right? And you don't get to that level of excellence without this kind of practice. Beyonce also in Homecoming said the same thing. She's like, I learned to love practice, because practice is where the show gets right. Like, that's, if I want to make sure my show is right, I'm going to get it right in practice. And that's where it is. So I love that. Lean into your average, yeah, I suck a little, so I'm gonna make sure I practice a little harder so I don't suck. I love that. All right, Andrea, what about you? What's your one tip?
My one tip to expand impact/influence is I'm going to attribute this to my mother, rest her soul, is every person can teach you something. So that ability to connect with each and every person with a true curiosity about who they are. I had to put the curiosity in there. So it's connect with curiosity. I got it into one tip. Would be I was like, connect with curiosity. There isn't I am just insanely curious. Sort of Monica just said the same thing too. She's insanely curious. That's why we get on so well, because we have random conversations that go on for hours, but we really do connect with great curiosity. So that's how you expand your influence, because those people and those connections, they come in handy, and you can share them, you can leverage them, you can enjoy them. There's just so much when you connect with curiosity. So that's my tip.
Oh, yeah. Great tip. Great tip. And because you guys are awesome, I'm going to have to think a little harder now. So, my one tip to expand your impact is to show the hell up. You actually have to show up. You actually have to do it. Like Nike says, just do it. Like every day, as often as possible, with great diligence, like Peggy was saying. But you actually have to just show up. When I decided that I was going to live my life out loud and that was no longer going to be a fly on the wall in the world, that was when everything changed for me, right? That was when the impact of me being on earth actually began to happen. So just show up and literally, and if I can put a caveat, and live out loud, right? Live all of it out loud. Then you will really make an impact. You live the mistakes out loud, live the lessons out loud, live the triumphs out loud. Just live out loud and fully authentically you. And you will definitely impact the world. Because I always say, if you like it, there's at least 10 other people. 10 other people will probably like it too, will probably need that lesson, will probably learn from it. And if you can affect change in just one person, then you have already made an impact, because you never know who is going to be the next the next great world trainer. And your smile, your showing up, your kind words, your encouragement could be the one thing that got them through the day, that helped them create a special item or a special thing that changes the world. So just show up, live out loud, and, keep connecting, like Andrea was saying, and do it diligently daily, like Peggy was saying. Looks like we have another chime in. Exactly, Monica. Show up. It did not look like you was very slow to come up with that. No, it really, I processed quickly. I was like,
Another superpower.
Scanning, bing, we'll go with that. That's what happens. So that is our show for today, which means it is time for announcements. Got that from camp. All right, so starting with Andrea, what is your announcement? What's happening in your world? How can people connect with you?
Well, Weight Loss the Right Way, Being in a Well Body Facebook group is open, and look us up. Come join the party. And you know what? I realized I was in my calendar, and I go live in that group every Wednesday and Friday. And today's topic, you want to get in there, is all about that sugar beast. I'm on a sugar thing. So tune in or join us, and then you can see the replay, because I'm going to dish all about sugar, how it's that beast that we have to make friendly with.
The real addictive white powder, let's be honest.
It is. Mm-hmm. And it's probably the worst. Because, I'll let you run your show, but I'm just saying.
No. Preach on the channel today. Preach on the channel. I'll be there. Come in. Chime in. Because we're going to church about it. I'm ready. I'm on a crusade. And I love sweet things just like the next person. You just have to know how to roll with it.
Got to know how to work it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Peggy, what about you? What are your announcements?
I am still just loving the Headshot Strategist program. I've incorporated it fully now. If you want me to do your headshots, you're going to take my program, because I did some headshots a couple weeks ago with somebody that did not go through my program. And I was like, this is too much work. Like, it's so much easier when you know what you need. But I have to put a little shout out in here to Monica's program, because the Headshot Strategist is based on the MinkLife program. And I have a 16-and-a-half-year-old. And, you know, we've been quarantining together. So, you know, we've had, you know, the whole teenage thing. And they needed new headshots. And I said, you will schedule an appointment with me, and I'm going to treat you just like anybody else. We're going to go through this program. And they did the program yesterday evening, and they were taking notes. And I literally made them get on Zoom upstairs. So like we were in the same room. So don't judge. I know you have teenagers and you know exactly what I mean.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I'm not judging.
But at the end of it, she goes, Mom, can I just tell you something? And I said, what? This is really good. Like, you can use this in your whole life, not just for headshots. Like, I'm going to do this for cosplay. I was like, you know, college or cosplay, but that's okay. So organize my cosplay.
Wherever you can take the lesson and apply it, and then they will see that they can do it everywhere, right? So.
And that's what I told Monica this morning. I was like, if a 16-year-old sees that, oh yeah. And I told Lev, I was like, well, yeah, I did the whole program for every area of my life. It's the exact same thing. And you examine, and they're like, oh my God. I go, yeah, it's Monica's program. This is MinkLife. Oh.
Auntie Monica
did that.
Never mind that she slept in my house, ate my food, you know, laid on my couch, watched TV.
I didn't know.
That's what Auntie Monica does.
Okay.
Love that.
But anyway, so yeah, I really wanted people that are like wishy-washy. Should I get involved in this program? A 16 and a half year old just had their mind blown by the possibilities, what this could do for their life. So yeah, you probably should get involved in MinkLife.
Love that. Love that. Well, since you kicked it to me properly, the announcement that we have, again, we are so excited to be working in the incubator. Like I said last time, the incubator literally was supposed to be a 4-week program for licensees, and we are now on week 8 or not. Is it 8?
It's a lot.
I think it's 9.
Yeah, probably.
Can't get rid of them. They're enjoying it too much, having a great time, and really using it as an opportunity to grow their business in a very short period of time. And so if you are curious a little bit, we are definitely interested in, you know, having you come and take a look at the incubator. So Alana has dropped the information in the chat. Take a look at it. Let us know what you think. The incubator is easy peasy at only $49 a month. You literally have access to 8 hours a day of support and at your leisure for your business. And we're doing this Sunday through Friday. So there are no excuses. Oh, I don't have time. Crap. That's crap. There is time. You can make the time. Anything that you want to do, if you want to change your life and grow your business, then you make the time, show up to the incubator and get that love and support that we're waiting to give you. Get all that work on your to-do list done. And Irina says, yes, incubator. It is like sugar. It will be crack. Once you get a taste of it, it's that good, yes, snap. So if you want to really strengthen your business, then you definitely want to check out the incubator, as we are working it out every day, getting it done. All right, with that, we are at the end of the show, which means it is my favorite slide time. It is time for them credits. I would like to thank everybody who has watched the show, who's chimed in, my co-host in the audience. Also, we have a special producer, Zola Franchi, and we have Alana and my co-host. And one last thing I want to remind you is you have the power to activate the vision within. Don't forget, we are here, same time, same station, every single week. And remember, sharing is caring, baby. So go ahead and hit that share button and share with those people who you love, because if you don't share your crack, you ain't a real friend. Share this crack. All right. With that, I will talk to you guys next week. See you later. Incubator, incubator, incubator.
Bye. See
Woo!
you next week. Bye-bye.